Hello and welcome to our official channel at Agape Ministries. This is Brother Sam. And dear brothers and sisters, today this is just a quick announcement about our upcoming in detail video about the Battle of Armageddon, the appearance of the Antichrist. We're basically working on releasing this video. So this is like a quick synopsis, a sneak preview. Today is Tuesday, the 16th of September, Anno Domini. And I just wanted to briefly bring to your attention the video that I recorded back in 1999 or the year 2000 about future events that are all unfolding or have unfolded now, such as the second term for US President Donald Trump of being reelected for the second time. That video was recorded in either 1999 or the year 2000. I remember I went to the store. It used to be called Circuit City. Now they're out of business. They were bought out by another venture capitalist out of New York City, and they renamed it Best Buy. So anyway, I bought the Sony camcorder with the actual cassette tape that you have to insert. And in those days, how it used to be, it was just transitioning from cassettes to the rewritable CDs. But anyway, I recorded that kind of a step by step. So if you want to watch our video, it's on YouTube on this channel where I go event by event, date by date, and every single one of them has been materialized. And today I just want to summarize that we're kind of taking it further and doing our prophetic video about what to expect next, such as the New World Order, the appearance of the Antichrist, the Mark of the Beast, which will be, of course, a technological marvel that will unite all supercomputers on planet Earth into one hub, into one network. And that network will control all human activity, literally. Countries will disappear because of the essentially pre-nuclear strike, pre-nuclear warlike situation. And the choice will be, do we destroy ourselves, which will begin to happen with tactical nuclear weapons, or do we, as countries, do we learn how to cooperate? But the reference I made to the 1999 video, you see, that was my first attempt of bringing to your attention all of these prophetic events. What we can expect for sure, at least in America, is the unfolding of the catastrophic, cataclysmic Mother Nature's events, such as the earthquakes, and not just earthquakes, folks, earthquakes where they're not really common in the Midwest. You know, everybody's expecting California to be separated from the North American continent and disappear into the Pacific Ocean. But I tell you that in the Midwest, at the juncture of Arkansas, Tennessee, and Missouri, there'll be a terrible, terrible earthquake of 9.5 on a Richter scale that will make the Mississippi River flow backwards. And that will actually cause this is the least expected earthquake that's going to happen very soon. And that will trigger other events, such as the earthquake in California. And that will basically unite. The Mother Earth is sending us a signal that enough of human abuse, enough of sort of living in this technocratic, greedy society, the consumerism-based society. Unless we change and get on the frequency of God, on the frequency of Mother Earth, things will only get worse in terms of our stability. The first thing that will go is our water supply. In North America, we're slightly more blessed than in other parts of the world. But if you look at the Lake Mead in Nevada that supplies all of the drinking water for the city of Los Angeles, and other parts of California, they've been running dry for the past 10 years. So they had to bring this $6 billion engineering project underneath Lake Mead. And they're tapping into the lake from the bottom because the other sort of the intake pipes are above the surface of Lake Mead, meaning they've built them too high and they've built the huge pump underneath Lake Mead that is also getting bone dry, dangerously dry. So dangerously low levels of drinking water for the city of Los Angeles and other parts of California. So, and these are just again, this is just a sneak preview of what I'm going to cover in the upcoming video. I really was going to take only a few minutes of your time to prepare you for what's to come. The technology, the new what they call AI computers. There's folks, there's no such thing as AI. AI is a marketing term that was um, invented by Professor McCarthy in 1959 Anno Domini, and he was a computer science professor on the East Coast, who simply Dartmouth College, who simply wanted to essentially get more grant money for his research to be basically to keep busy. So he created this sort of a fancy term, artificial intelligence. There is no such thing, folks. All it is, it's a very powerful supercomputer that runs a certain program, and that's all it does. And it spits out the answers. You ask questions, it spits out answers. So ChatGPT 3.5, 4.0, 5.0, 6.0, 7, all it is just a, a supercomputer that runs a certain algorithm or a program. And we're going to cover that too. But there is another one that's coming that will unite them all, that will essentially will be the computer of all computers, that will extend human lifespan up to 200 years of age, and do other sort of quote unquote miraculous things that Jesus did 2,000 years ago. But that's just the beginning, folks. So the earthquakes, the volcanic eruptions, Yellowstone, Mount Etna, and other places, this is just the beginning of our woes. Jesus said there'll be weeping and gnashing of teeth, meaning, well, referring to the afterlife, but that will be weeping and gnashing of teeth here, folks, on our planet, beginning very soon. So the economy, the first thing that is going to collapse is the economy of the United States, and globally, it will have a wildfire effect globally, and it will happen in 2025. The reason why the pandemic was kind of not felt all the way. We were basically being tested to see how we're going to react. But the war in Ukraine took all of the attention and kind of the resources away from the pandemic to the war in Ukraine. And now we have 84 or 48 wars, something like that. There's one in Palestine in the Gaza Strip. There's another one. There's one in Sudan, one in all kinds of wars in Africa. And they are funded essentially by U.S. weapons manufacturers to sell the weapons, because when there's peacetime, they don't make any money. They want they want some kind of a multiple military conflicts to be happening so they could be making millions of dollars, billions of dollars, because each missile that's fired, that's 1.5 on average, $1.5 million. And for us to have peace is for them not to make money. So you see, many people outside of the United States, they wonder, we have listeners in other countries, they almost cannot believe that in America, all weapons manufacturers are essentially private companies, which is unthinkable in all other countries, folks. In all other countries, weapons manufacturers are state-owned enterprises. They're large, they're controlled by the state, and they're usually are in business. There is no business, but they manufacture weapons to provide for the safety and defense of those countries. Only in the United States, only in America, weapons are produced for a profit. That's right. Even nuclear weapons are made for a profit. You might say, well, how could they? Well, that's the only exception, that only two of them were dropped on Japan in August of 1945, Anno Domini. But right now, the escalation will prove catastrophic, that they'll be used actually in Ukraine in the next few months. You'll see. And that's what's going to be in our video that's coming up. So you can watch it. You could almost set your clock by it. So um, Russia and the United States will exchange um, not strategic, not the big nuclear weapons, but the smaller ones, the 100 kiloton nuclear weapons on the territory of Ukraine. So territory of Ukraine now is basically, it's like what Vietnam was in the 60s and in the 70s. Vietnam was, when the war started in 1964, that was a false flag operation. You can actually look that up. The American reporter, he delivered all the documents proving that there was no attack on that American warship. It was all false flag operation. They just said the captain of that ship received a command from Washington D.C. to essentially pretend like they were attacked and just move forward and retaliate, start a war because it's profitable. The American military complex will start making a lot of money suddenly. And that's how the system operates. Now they hire hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of lobbyists who are employed by weapons manufacturers in Washington, D.C. They're setting up those opportunities in countries like Ukraine, Belarus, Russia, and many other countries around the world. They're looking for opportunities to continue to make money, because when there's peace, they don't make any money. And money for them is everything, is life. They worship the devil. They worship Satan 24/7 nonstop, folks. And that's what many people don't understand. We live in a satanic world with full of fake American smiles. But below the surface, beneath the surface, these people want to they don't care if they kill 500 Ukrainian soldiers. They just want to make money. Can you believe that? How do they sleep at night? Well, they worship the devil. They sleep probably not too bad, quite well, because they're on the other circadian cycle. They're on the other side. They on a different frequency, folks. For them, money is everything. For them, money is their God. And so we must pray, folks. We must pray to God to deliver us from this terrible, terrible future that awaits us in the next few months. And by the year 2027, we'll see a full-blown, full-scale nuclear exchange. In other words, there'll be a few nuclear exchanges made, but they will be spotty. Well, by 2027, this is the introduction of the New World Order. Right before it happens, the conditions on planet Earth will be unbearable. By the way, starting just next week, next month in America, we'll see a lot more mass shootings, folks. Mass shootings are happening not because people go crazy. No, it's because of the demonic oppression, demonic force, demonic kind of a cloud overhanging the American populace, the American population. I would say almost, who knows, 85, 90% of, maybe 95% of all Americans are demon oppressed. Look at their tattoos. If somebody has a tattoo, especially something satanic, they belong to the devil. And try to find somebody without a tattoo, folks. It's hard to find an American person that doesn't have any tattoo on his body or her body. And women are especially vulnerable because through them, the easiest target for demons are women because of how they're wired. 1.3 kilograms of brain mass versus 1.6 for men, different personality. See, this is why, if you ever wondered, why would the devil come to possess Eve, who then incited Adam to eat the forbidden fruit, to know that forbidden knowledge? Why would he have to go and possess this sort of a four-legged creature? Yes, the snake used to be able to walk at that time. It was very wise and supposedly was viewed or deemed to be a very pretty animal or creation of God. It was very wise, beautiful, pretty, and it walked. It did not slither on the earth. In other words, it had legs or some kind of appendages because It says so in the Bible that um, the snakes lost their limbs and they began to slither on the earth the way they do today, and they're kind of repulsive today. But back in the day, at that time, they could talk. They were very wise. They were very considered, very beautiful. And so when don't think that Eve saw the snake and she why wasn't she screaming? Why wasn't she asking for help? Because seeing a snake was like seeing a very fluffy, beautiful cat. That's right. This is the closest analogy I could make for you to understand the scriptures. Today, in America at least, cats or dogs are put on a pedestal. In fact, Americans have better relationship with their pets than with human beings, with their neighbors. That's just look around. But that's a fact. That's a statement of fact. But in those days, at the time of Adam and Eve, snakes were at that sort of a pedestal position. They were very, very um, beautiful, very wise, and they were considered enormously. It was a privilege to be able to sort of have a snake by your side or talk to a snake. This is why Satan um, inhibited the snake to get to Eve. So don't think that he chose like a difficult path. It was the easiest path. But what he wanted to do, why not go straight to Adam? Because Adam would have probably rejected that offer. And Eve was of a special. She was very special to Adam, and that's why it was a ploy, it was a technique, it was a like below the belt type of a strategy to use against Adam. And so, but the Satan wanted to reverse the hierarchical order. There's a hierarchy, there's God, there's man, and then there's the woman, and then there are the animals. But he reversed it. He came through the animal to get to the woman, to get to Adam, and then the whole thing collapsed, as you know the story from the Bible. And I'm only using this analogy to illustrate why he went to the snake first, not to Adam, because it probably wouldn't have worked. He had to break the pattern, break the hierarchical sort of the hierarchy of of our world at that time. That gives you a little insight. So, folks, this is what he does today. He comes the same way like he did back then through the woman. And many men listen. When my wife and we got married, we were both 21 years old. And, about a week after our marriage, that was many years ago, I was wondering how did this creature get into my house? What happened there? Like you see, it's like you get mesmerized and then you realize, well, how did she get into your house? What is she doing in your house? I mean, we knew each other from college, but the point is, I knew what happened. My point is, you just begin to understand this is some kind of a scheme or scam, because if you think about it, somebody's gaming somebody else. Basically a scheme. Either men are looking for women or women are looking for sort of convenient husbands. But it's there's never this sort of this true love and everybody's in love. And no. I mean, my mother didn't have a true love marriage. It was, I think, it's also some kind of economic marriage. Her mother, my grandmother, didn't have a true love marriage. My grandmother had 4 husbands, and it was all just one would die after another, and just some. The point is, it's all a survival in economic stimulus that stimulates women to get married, or men to sort of like. And my point is, if we were to analyze this, there was never really. It's very rare to have a true love between a man and a woman. And for my wife and I, we also kind of, it was something that made sense for us to do. We knew each other from college, like I said. But the point is, I finally realized that just a week or two after we got married, it's like, this is some kind of a trap here. How did I get myself into this? And that's what everybody thinks, by the way. There is no true love, really. It's, you got to do what you got to do. And when those feelings sort of leave you and you realize, my God, what is this? I mean, life goes on, but the point is, you realize this whole thing is a scam or a scheme, or it's not, it's against your will. everything that happens per the demonic realm that keeps influencing us every single day, every single hour, every single minute. So the majority of your thoughts are not your thoughts. And this is why it's important to be in this meditative state, in prayer, meditation, and fasting, because that's when we get on the frequency of God. And guided by the Holy Spirit, we will see the world. We will see what's best for us. But the majority of the world, they watch the news, they drink alcohol, they smoke cigarettes, they smoke other things, they take drugs, pharmaceutical or street drugs. Their minds are not there, folks. They're not thinking straight. They're not on the frequency of God. They're far from it. They have tattoos all over the body, and they boast that they have over 40 tattoos. Can you imagine this one man on YouTube? I said he's even have Bigfoot tattooed on his left forearm. His left forearm had a huge color tattoo of Bigfoot. How crazy is that, folks? And they're very proud of that achievement. And so people are in the same state as they were during the times of Noah. Just like in the times of Noah, they were marrying and giving in marriage, meaning that's a metaphor, meaning giving in marriage, and they were, marrying each other. That means life went on as always, meaning like they did not foresee the flood, the great flood that killed them all, except for one family that was saved inside the ark that landed on Mount Ararat. And if you ever seen Mount Ararat, it's a beautiful mountain that used to be part of Armenia. Now it's part of, in 1921, there was a Treaty of Kars, Kars. That's a city in today Turkey. But it was the Ottoman Empire at that time. Turkey did not exist. It came later, just like the Soviet Union did not exist prior to 1917, Anno Domini. The point is, Mount Ararat was on the territory of, back then it was Armenia, or what became to be known as Armenia, then now it's Turkey. And this is the Ararat Valley, is the most sort of a fertile valley in that region. And this is kind of connected to the Garden of Eden, the Araxes or Arax River that sort of runs, that today separates Turkey from Armenia. But back then, this is where Noah came down from Mount Ararat, you see, and he pitched his tent with his family by the Arax River. Supposedly, that's the tradition has it, And he lived there with his family, and then from there, this is the cradle of civilization. This is where everything started, from there, from that region. And so the point of my story, folks, is this. It started there, it's going to end there, because that region is not that far from the Middle East. It's kind of like it's the Araxes River, the Ararat Valley, the Mount Ararat it's on it borders Asia and Europe, and it really Middle East is just not that far away from that area. And so this is where the Battle of Armageddon will sort of initiate. You already have seen what happened in Iran, how they bombed Iran. You see, those are the sort of they were testing what's going to happen. Iran retaliated on Israel. You saw the exchange between Iran and Israel, right? And you saw the ballistic missiles, how they hit. There is no running away. There is no. It comes down too fast, folks. Like the Russian Oreshnik ballistic missiles, when they hit that little factory in wherever it hit, you saw them, like 6 of them come down with lightning speed. You saw that because the security camera captured it in, I would say, high definition. You saw how they came down from the sky, folks. This is what happened to the city of Sodom and Gomorrah. It was destroyed in the very same way with nuclear weapons, folks. Nuclear weapons. The few years ago, there was an archaeological site that the study was done. They found the city of Sodom and Gomorrah that turned to glass, and they said in order for the desert stone, for the sands to turn to that kind of a structure to that type of a glass, the whole city was basically nuked. The temperature had to be at least 10 million degrees. And the only thing that could happen is what we know today as nuclear weapons. So they had some kind of nuclear weapons that the angels used to destroy the sinners in the sinful cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. And today, Las Vegas, the residents of Las Vegas, they praise their city as the sin city. Can you believe that? The degradation, the degraded state of mind, but it's to be ashamed of. But they say we're known as the Sin City. They're proud that they have a nickname of Sin City. Like they're proud to share with the world. They say, "Come to Sin City." That's what they call themselves. We live in Sin City, but they don't mean it in the biblical sense. They mean it in this braggadocious sense. They're bragging about the fact that they're known around the world as Sin City. And they even have a little tagline or a little slogan for the city. What goes on here stays here, meaning like you can do whatever you want and it will be your little secret. What they're implying is that they're inviting married women to go to Sin City, to Las Vegas, and commit all kinds of acts, sexual acts, and those acts will be supposedly not known to their husbands or anyone else. It's called infidelity today, folks. And I've paused the pause was because many people today don't even know what infidelity means. They're not even aware what that means because it's not part of the vocabulary. They're into drinking, smoking, doing drugs, and tattoos, and this kind of a lifestyle. They call it, by the way, having fun in Las Vegas. They're not even relating that what they're doing is sinful behavior or even harmful behavior. And that's why the slogan of the city of Las Vegas, what goes on here stays here, which is, that's like, that's exactly what happened right before the city of Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed. It was also known as Sin City of the Plains because it was built located in the valley, in the plains. And so, folks, anyway, I think my little sneak preview went on for a bit too long, but I wanted you to know that the high quality video is coming. You will see it all, just like my 1999 video that was listing all of the events that have unfolded, every single one of them, those recorded there. So in this upcoming video, you will see all of the New World Order events, the nuclear war events, the Mark of the Beast, how this technology will enslave all the people in the next few years, folks. In the next few years, it will start with the digital dollar and digital currency in every country around the world. Right before they will all unite into one world government. So all countries around the world will switch, and they will ban cash. Cash will not be accepted because you could still do. That's your freedom. Cash kind of guarantees us freedom, but once it will be switched to a digital currency, like here in America, we'll use digital dollar. Everything will be tracked through that uh, portal, through that new type of currency. Everything. We make a purchase, we do this and it will be actually implanted into us, into our right hand. That's been already done in many, many Scandinavian countries that were on this pilot program, and they love it. They're so stupid. They say they love it. It's a small, tiny little microchip, RFID microchip, that will be implanted inside in the soft tissue between your thumb and your index finger. And that's how you will be able to basically scan without even using your wallet. Your wallet will be in that little RFID chip, microchip. And not only that, it will be your wallet, your passport, your driver's license, everything, your medical record, your banking will be done through that. But unless you have that, you won't be able to buy or sell anything, just like the Bible says, you see. You won't be able to do anything. And that's the most scary part that most people don't even realize. We're practically there, folks. We're almost there. And nobody's paying attention. We're almost there. People are so just mesmerized by this so-called chat GPT from OpenAI. This 3.15, 4.0, 5.0, 6.0, 7.0. They don't understand. It's just a supercomputer that's taking all of your private information. Because if you play with it long enough, even Microsoft Copilot, if you play with it for about 6 months, it will start asking you questions on your screen. Do you give me permission to look at all of your files? Like, it will ask you that question after you play with it long enough. And then, but basically, it's designed to get your walls down. As you play with either the Microsoft Copilot or with Google's Gemini or with OpenAI's ChatGPT, whatever that's 4.0, 5.0, 6.0, whatever you play with, Grok, it doesn't make any difference. These names may not mean much to you, but Grok is offered by Twitter or X. OpenAI offers ChatGPT, the 4.0, 5.0. Google offers Gemini, and Microsoft offers Copilot. They all are slightly different. But within the first 6 months of sort of dealing with you and taking all of your information, like what you are willing to give it through the screen, it will start asking you to give your permission so it could access all your files on your computer, and all of your files. So essentially, it wants to take over your life. And the reason why it's being done, folks, is because there is no such thing as free lunch. There is no such. You have to pay. And just imagine, Google pays or YouTube pays. It's all the same company. They pay billions of dollars per week just in electricity cost for just one data center for millions of people to upload their silly videos. Now, why would they do that, folks? Because they analyze you. They study you. This is why they removed the battery from your cell phones. Because if you think that they put those high definition video cameras on the back and front of your cell phones for your selfies, you're gravely mistaken. They do it so that they can spy on you, folks. Every time you read your messages on your phone, or front or back, it doesn't make any difference. It takes a picture of your face, and then it sends it to the headquarters. That's why they removed the battery. They removed the option for you to remove the battery, so it will be constantly on. So you can't turn it off. Where in the old days, you could take the battery out and it would not send any information. Yes, even if you power your phone off, it still continues to take those pictures. It's like a movie lapse mode. Like when you see those video lapse, time lapse videos. It's kind of like a time lapse photography from your phone. Every 10 seconds, it sends out a message that's highly compressed, but they see everything. There's nobody. It's a supercomputer that watches everything, analyzes your facial expressions and everything. That's why they put those high definition video cameras on those phones. So be aware of that. Beware and be aware of that, folks. Beware and be aware of that. Two different meanings here. Beware. Don't think it's for your selfies. It's not for your selfies, folks. It's not for you to have these wonderful selfies. No. So you see, just to develop something like that, it cost billions of dollars. Example, just in R&D, research and development, to develop the Samsung Galaxy Classic watch that reads your heartbeat and pulse, and takes care of your other measurements. It cost Samsung approximately $6.5 billion in several years. So they spent $6.5 billion. Do you think they're going to just, and the same goes for the HD video cameras. Do you think they're going to just install those video cameras just for free? No, think about it. If you go to a restaurant, you have to pay for the meal. Well, if the proprietor, the owner of the restaurant, says it's on the house, if he says, you don't have to, the check is on us, we'll take care of it. If it happens once, maybe it's okay. If it happens twice, unusual, but it's pleasant. But if it happens all the time, folks, try to understand nothing is free. But if you continually get that free meal at this restaurant, you begin to question, what is he putting in your food, right? I mean, if you have any brains, you would think so, right? You shouldn't be that gullible. No, there's no, why else would he have a restaurant, folks? To feed you? Why would they allow you to upload unlimited number of 4K videos, which are very, very large files, especially if it's 12 gigabyte files for very, lengthy videos. I mean, 12 gigabyte files, folks, you have to understand it's mathematically not possible to accommodate that kind of a volume. And they do, and it's free. So try to connect the dots, folks. They're analyzing everything. And I'll tell you just one thing. A few years ago, YouTube started to be able to decipher your text and your phone numbers that you put inside your videos. Like you used to, let's say if you didn't want your phone number to be indexed by Google, you would put it inside your video and it could be only seen by a human being. So call me at such and such number. If you said it inside your video, it was for the eyes of the human beings who would watch your video. But a few years ago, Google created an algorithm. It actually reads those numbers now. I've went through that myself. I published one of my private numbers in one of the videos, and it immediately appeared on Google search because I searched for my number and immediately appeared from that video. And then I made that video private and it disappeared. Then I made that video public and my phone number reappeared on Google search. So you see, there is a direct connection. How Google now or YouTube can index everything you say or put in the video. Like if it's a text with your phone number or any text, it understands it in any language. By the way, it's not like if you put it in a different language. No, any language, it understands it very well. You can't hide behind a certain language. Even if it's Esperanto, it will still understand what you're saying. So, folks, this is just a little orientation. I want you to be vigilant, my brothers and sisters. Be be in prayer constantly. I want you to be in fasting. I want you to go on those meditative walks every single day. This is the only way to get on the frequency of God. This is the only way to hear from the Holy Spirit. This is the only way to disconnect from this satanic reality, satanic world of advertisement, and satanic reality of this news, this satanic garbage news, nothing but negativity and sex violence and more sex violence and crime and shootings, mass shootings. Yeah, I wanted to say this. I almost forgot. Mass shootings will increase I diverted slightly. I'm coming back. This was the core message I wanted to say. Mass shootings in America will increase. And what they'll start doing, both the teenagers and the slightly older people, I mean, even older people will, pick up the weapons. What will happen is because they're demonically oppressed and demonically controlled. So these 14, 15-year-old teenagers, 16-year-old teenagers will start buying C4 explosives online, and they will start exploding, detonating buildings, federal buildings, state buildings in all 50 US states. So there'll be gaping holes because they'll get enormous amounts of C4 explosives. Where will they get them? Online, folks. From AliExpress, from Amazon, from all kinds of Chinese websites. And also from the same source where the American Eskimos get it. There's a city of Barrow, Alaska, on the North Slope of Alaska. There's a bunch of Eskimos live there. And just to give you an idea, when they go hunting for whales, when they kill whales, they do something like the International Whaling Commission set a limit of I think it was 100 and it was 200 and it was 300 and 200. Now it's 150. I believe that's the limit per year. How many whales they could kill before they go to jail? Because whales are just disappearing, just like they did in the 1800s. Moby Dick was written on the premise. They went extinct, folks. So anyway, 150, I believe that's the latest limit per year That's how many whales could be killed by the Eskimos on the north slope, off the north slope of Alaska. The city is Barrow, Alaska. That's the American name. That's the English pronunciation. But they refuse to say it as Barrow. They say this is the colonial infringement on their rights. They call it Yutkavik. Yeah, I said it correctly to the best of my ability. They call it Yutkavik. That's how you say it in their Eskimo language there. Yutkavik. So in the city of Yutkavik, so all the Yutkavik people, residents of Yutkavik, they kill whales, folks. That's right. And they do it, well, you might say traditionally with harpoons, right? Well, yes, but you cannot kill a whale today with harpoons, because what they do is they become, they want it to be more, they want to kill them more efficiently and quicker. Do you know what they do? I'll tell you, folks, what they do. They attach a very powerful bomb, a real bomb, to the tip of the harpoon, and it's got a special triggering mechanism. So what they do is they aim for the eye socket. That's right. The harpoonists, they still use those, like little boats that they use. All they need is basically, they spot a whale. They hunt in like packs, like wolves. They spot a whale, surround it, and the whale is magnificent. God's creation, God's creature. Beautiful creature that is like us, folks. It wants to live too. It has its own family. They can communicate from many, many, many hundreds of miles away. They use a special echolocation system, kind of like dolphins, but even it's a much more evolved language that they have. But anyway, these Eskimos, they surround them. They surround the whale once they spot him. And the harpoonist he basically aims for the eye socket because it's quite large. And it's not, it doesn't have any eye socket. It's just, it doesn't have any bone behind. I mean, it doesn't, it's an opening within the skull of a whale. And so he aims for it, and he penetrates, punctures the eyeball of a whale, this beautiful God's creature. And then the triggering mechanism, folks, hits at some point the bone structure, but it's already inside the skull of this magnificent creature that's already in pain. And then the triggering mechanism detonates this massive bomb that explodes inside the head of this magnificent creature. Lots of blood is spewed all over the place, and they hook it and they take it on shore. So they hook it to their boats, not one boat, but multiple boats. They have these small boats that when you watch it, it's really gruesome. And then they take the whale on shore, and then they do a little dance, and some kind of a ceremonial dance and singing. And I'm like, you know what? Why don't you just go buy some salmon at your grocery store? Just buy commercially produced salmon and save those beautiful whales, folks. No, they want to do that. It's their ritual, folks. They ask. But point is, I diverted slightly. The mass shootings that will increase it in frequency by 1,000,000%. So there'll be a mass shooting in every city, every village, every municipality across America, starting in next month. And they'll start using these C4 explosives that the Eskimos get from Netherlands. They get it from the Netherlands suppliers. You might say, and the Chinese suppliers and from the Netherlands. You might say, why? Why the Netherlands? How could this be? Well, it's common knowledge, folks. It costs pennies on the dollar, whether it's from the Chinese suppliers or from the Netherlands, and it's shipped to America via these. I mean, what is it? I think it's DHL or something. It's crazy. But they used to be able to buy them from American sources, but after 9/11, the laws changed or whatever. Now the Eskimos buy those explosives from China, from the Netherlands. Yes, from Holland, from the Dutch entrepreneurs that sell them these very, very dangerous explosives, folks. That's what the Eskimos, that's how they kill those whales. And they go over the quota, the annual quota that the International Whaling Commission sets for them, always. So they're felons on the run. They're criminals on the run. Like if you look at them from a legal perspective, because they always go with the quota, and you're supposed to go to jail for 120 years for killing a whale that's outside of the quota, and they somehow find a way. They always find a way how to not to go to jail. They bribe somebody. I don't know exactly, but they find a way. This highly corrupt government there in Alaska. I mean, this like you wouldn't believe if you read about it. My God, we think we have it really bad in Washington D.C. We do, but it's not any it's not any better, the situation when it comes to bribing and other criminal activity, corruption that's in Alaska. But anyway, I digress again. So these teenagers who will be doing who will switch from using the machine guns, they'll switch to doing C4s, folks, radio controlled C4s, and this will be like they'll do them en masse together simultaneously. So let's say they're going to, I'm just saying, key governmental buildings across the United States all at once will be blown up by thousands of these, what I don't know what you call them, demon possessed, demon controlled, I don't know what to call them. I guess they're US citizens, but they're not really, they've been demonized, folks. And that's when that happens, when that you'll see that when that starts to happen, when you'll see that with your eyes on your television screen, just like what I predicted in 1999 in the previous video, everything has been materialized by now. All you have to do is listen to that video and you'll see it. It was either 1999 or the year 2000. I don't remember exactly when I recorded it. But anyway, now we're doing the same thing about these events. This is just a sneak preview. So you'll get the dates, the times when it's going to happen, the information I get from the other side, from the Akashic records. Look it up, Akasha. It's in Sanskrit. That's the Sanskrit word for the astronauts and the cosmonauts when they would go into outer space. They noticed that the further away you go from the Earth, the closer you get to God. But what that is the Akashic records. It's the Akashic records belt around the Earth. This is where all the information is being recorded, past, future, and present. It's like the hard drive of our planet. Every planet is alive, by the way. Every planet is alive, just like we are. It's macrocosm and microcosm. It's all, our planets and atoms and our cells in our human body. We're all operate on a similar structure. The hair on the back of your head goes in a spiral. So are the galaxies, they're spiral. So is the water that twirls in the bathtub. When you let the water out, you see it twirls. In North America, it goes one way. In Australia, it goes the other way. It's the opposite direction, but it still twirls. It goes like in a swirling manner. It's like in a circular spiral manner, just like the galaxy, spiral galaxy, just like the human DNA. The helix is located in it's shaped in the same fashion, in a spiral fashion. So anyway, folks, all the details you get in the next video, but be aware and beware that in the future, things in America at least will get only worse. More mass shootings, and then the escalation will go towards they'll start using these what the Eskimos are using, the C4 bombs or explosives or whatever you call them. That's going to switch the taste. The demons, they don't know limits, folks. And I'm simply predicting what's about to happen. Like there'll be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of those of cases. Like suddenly, like it will be nightmare situation. No National Guard will be able to save the situation or stabilize the situation. Nothing, because you try to understand there is no weapon that you can use against the demon. And if all human beings in America are controlled by the demons, they're all demon possessed, demon controlled, and you have a bunch of demons essentially running this country. And the population, if it's controlled by the demon, and it is, it's like demons that have found the physical levers how to bring forth destruction to the country where we live in the United States of America. And that's what, again, that's their purpose. mischievous spirits of rebellion. They're the ones that rebelled, and that's why they're called the fallen angels. They used to be, I guess, on the good side, but on the side of God, but then they rebelled and followed Satan. That's at least what the Bible tells us. But in other religions, it tells a similar story. In the Quran, it tells of Iblis. Iblis in the Islamic tradition is the equivalent of Lucifer. Lucifer is what Satan used to be before the fall. So right before the fall, he was the most powerful, most beautiful angel that used to gather all the other angels together. He was like the chief angel, angel in chief, I guess. And Lucifer from Latin, if we were to translate into English, it simply means the morning star, meaning that's the most beautiful thing you see in the when the day starts. So Lucifer in English corresponds to Iblis in the Quran, in the Islamic tradition. And in every other tradition, folks, they have names like you wouldn't believe. If you read the Bhagavad Gita, they have over 120,000 texts that predate the Bible by about 7,000 years. So if you think this is like unique, no, 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 no. Every single word that Jesus has spoken was recorded in Bhagavad Gita. Just read it, word for word, exactly the same manner. Exactly the same manner. I could quote you, but again, this is just a sneak preview. I'm going to do that in the video that's about to come out. So, yeah, there's nothing new under the sun, folks. Don't be sort of like blasé about the Bible as something unique. No, the Bhagavad Gita, 7,000 years prior to even there was no Hebrew language even. The Bhagavad Gita already existed, folks. Sanskrit predates Hebrew by thousands of years. Predates, meaning it comes before Hebrew language was even in existence. So everything that Jesus has said or done, by the way, he went to Tibet and to India from the age of 12 until the age of 30. He was in Tibet and India. He was traveling all over the place along the Silk Road, all the way to Tibet and India. And he was very much welcomed by the Tibetan monks and sages in India. They recognize each other, folks, telepathically. They don't use any languages on that level. On the level of Jesus, you don't use language, folks. It's a completely different level. Imagine if you could just say to this fig tree, be what did he say? Wither away, and it withered away right away. I mean, it's like that's you don't need language at that point to communicate with. You just need to be elevated. And the purpose of this channel is to help you elevate, to help you get there. And Jesus said we should be able to walk on water and heal the sick and raise people from the dead and cast out demons. Folks, can you do that? My brothers and sisters in Christ, can you do that? Can you walk on water just like Jesus did? Just like Peter did when he followed Jesus, when he saw Jesus walking on water. Peter did. And then he began to drown because even though he was with Jesus himself, he began to drown because he was still a sort of a limited human being. This is why the message here is for you not to have any limitations. Just believe in God. Have that faith, childlike faith, that you can walk on water. And I'll share with you the techniques how to do that, how to get to that stage. Yes, you can walk on water. I strongly believe it. I'll show it to you. I bought a GoPro camera and with a special GoPro harness that you put on your head. And so the GoPro camera it becomes attached to your forehead. So you could see everything I see. And I show you how to interact with Mother Nature, how to create wind. Once you put your left hand on your on the tree and you begin to meditate, with your right hand you begin to sort of connect with the leaves on the tree, and they begin to move, and then you realize that you're actually causing a rather strong winds up to 35 miles an hour, and you have to be careful not to go any further than that, because this is how hurricanes happen. That's right. This is how hurricanes happen, folks. People who basically are careless, and these winds get carried away from them, and things get out of control, and people have to flee the area, and then hurricanes form, folks. And so Jesus said we should be able to walk on water, heal the sick, cast out demons, and raise people from the dead. We just need to see it. We need to be taught this methodology. Once we see it, like Peter saw it and he walked on the water, we should be able to do the same. And this is part of this ministry, how to get to that level of awareness, consciousness, the Christ consciousness. I'll share that with you. You'll see it with your own hands through the video that I've already filmed. It's just a matter of put it together and put it on YouTube. Anyway, so you'll be able to walk on water, heal the sick, cast out demons, and raise people from the dead. The most difficult part is to raise people from the dead, folks. That is really, you have to have astounding level of faith. So the easiest part, I'm going to just tell you right away, to connect with Mother Nature, to where you create the wind, around you with just your right hand while you're meditating outdoors, in the nature and some garden. If you live in the city, you have to get to some park, or if you have access to some sort of a garden, like some cities have this. But you cannot do it with there's people around. You have to get away where there's nobody around. You have to turn off all your phones. You have to be fasting. You can't just go from being in a city and then just go to some park and just do these things. It's not gonna work. You have to really want to commit to this. You have to really want to follow this this sort of a special desert experience, quote unquote desert experience, like the early church fathers used to go into the desert following the example of Jesus Christ for 40 days. Yeah, they would go into the desert. And if they die, well, that means they were not on the frequency of God. But if they came back, they were usually much stronger spiritually, and they could perform those kind of quote unquote miracles. And this is what we're going to teach on this channel, folks. It's coming up. So this is what I'm sharing with you about the next few years, the future of the new world order, the new technology, the new digital money, digital wallet. In America here, we'll have a digital dollar. In other countries, they have digital, whatever the currency they have, but those governments will ban cash. Everything will have to be done using digital currency. But anyway, this is just a sneak preview, and I want you to know that by faith, Peter walked on the water after Jesus. And even though he had this childlike faith, he began to drown because he was a human being. And the purpose of our ministry is to keep you at maximum level of faith, at maximum proximity to Christ, at the closest level to being on the frequency of God. The only way you can relate to God is to be on his frequency, folks, because God is spirit. You cannot touch him. And so this is just your beginning, the beginning of your spiritual education. And in order for us to survive, we must unite. We must be on this common frequency of God. There's only one God, folks. So for that matter, I invite all of the Muslims, all of the people who of other religions, of any other religion. If you believe in the creator of the universe, you're welcome to gather the knowledge that you will find on this channel, on our Agape Ministries. Channel Agape is a biblical word of Greek origin. Agape means the unconditional, perfect love of God. Agape simply means the perfect, unconditional love of God that escapes human understanding. It surpasses human understanding because we cannot comprehend it, folks. We're really, really, really on the much lower level, but we have the potential to get there. This is the most beautiful part about the human nature, human essence, is that we're fallen. Yes, we're very, very sort of like primitive. Yes, to all of that. But we have this capability to reach to God by simply having this childlike faith. So this is why Jesus said, this is my favorite passage from the Bible, by the way, one of them. Unless we become like these little children, when his disciples ask him, teacher, tell us, who is the greatest in the kingdom of God? I left this, I left that, I left my family. Will I be the greatest? He called up a child. He probably loved the child, meaning like he hugged the child. He, like just smooshed his cheek or something like that. He pinched his cheek or he did something to the child in a loving way, of course. And he said, Look at this child. Unless you become like this little child, you will by no means be able to enter the kingdom of heaven. So you see, Jesus wants us to have this childlike faith, to be innocent like children. But he also commanded us to be as shrewd as snakes and as harmless as doves. So we should not be gullible. We should be as harmless as doves, but as shrewd as snakes, meaning not to be doormats for other people. That's not my words. This is the words of Jesus Christ. Christ, by the way, is the title. It's not his last name, just in case, just saying. Christos in Greek, that's a title, which means the Christ. The Christ is a title given by the Hebrew tradition in those days by somebody who was anointed. That simply signifies the anointing. In his case, the anointing of God. But it is an ancient Hebrew tradition when one person would anoint another one with olive oil. That's right, olive oil was used even in those days, 3,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago, to anoint another person with some kind of spiritual authority or any kind of authority. So you become Christos. That's the Greek word for the Christ, which simply means in English, the anointed one, with olive oil. And with that comes that extra layer of responsibility and power, spiritual power and discernment. We should be looking into becoming people of faith with a discerning spirit. Because if we cannot discern the spirits, folks, this is where the entire American population is deceived. That's why they have tattoos. That's why they drink. That's why they smoke. That's why they take drugs, both pharmaceutical and illegal street drugs. We should not be able to do any of that. In fact, we should be on salads and water alone. That should be plenty for us because we're in this world, folks, but we're not of this world. That's what Jesus told us to follow. This should be our mantra. Mantra in Sanskrit simply means this is our way to God. This is our way of cleansing our souls or connecting with God. Mantra meaning our daily sort of a prayer, like the Jesus prayer in the Catholic faith or the Orthodox faith. They have the "Oh Lord, have mercy upon me, a sinner." That says the key pivotal prayer in the Greek and Russian and Romanian Orthodox Church. This is their mantra, or this is what the Orthodox monks repeat every day, every hour, every minute, hundreds of times per hour. And the reason for doing that is it grounds you, but it's similar to other meditative practices used in the East, folks. It sort of basically centers you. It gives you the focal point, and it allows you to turn your mind off. It allows you to turn your mind off in our crazy world, from our crazy distractions, the news, the violence, the sex, all other unspeakable things that we are bombarded with from every source, on social media, everywhere. So that's why, folks, I highly recommend that you turn off all your computers and cell phones and all your social media for at least in the morning when you wake up, hopefully early in the morning before everybody else does. And you begin saying your prayers. Say your prayers, your meditation over a glass of water. And preferably that's made out of glass, real glass, no plastic. Never use plastic, it's dangerous. And the water should be marinating inside your refrigerator with 3 slices of lemon, because lemon has antiseptic properties. And you should pray over water all the time, like in the morning, or when you make that water, the jar of water, when you slice up those lemons, when you replenish your jar, say a prayer, bless the water. It's very, very important. And you'll never get sick, folks. I promise you that. You won't be hungry ever again. You just salads and nuts and water. That's all you need. No tea, no coffee of any kind. Don't drink coffee, folks. That's that even from the standpoint, it's very toxic, because in Colombia, for example, those workers, they spray carcinogens on the coffee bushes, because if they don't, they're going to lose the harvest. They won't have any coffee to sell you here in North America, folks. So they use very dangerous chemicals that they spray on this coffee, and then on those coffee beans, and then you drink that coffee. It's highly, highly toxic. It's a huge, I mean, it's a huge industry, folks, just like the drug industry, like the tobacco industry. Remember, Philip Morris paid something like $216 billion about 15 years ago, approximately, as restitution to all the smokers in the United States, to in all 50 states. It's some kind of a payment plan that were put on. So every year, continuously, the $250 billion would be paid out incrementally. They didn't have that kind of a money at hand, so they would be paying. I think it's $1 billion a year. So you divide it up into between 50 states, and that's after they got busted with adding chemicals to every single one of their cigarette tobacco products. That's right. So is every beer manufacturer, folks. Every alcoholic beverage manufacturer. They spike the drinks with similar chemicals that an average chemist will never be able to detect or find. So to keep you addicted, so you won't be able to quit smoking or drinking, folks. That's the dark, dark story of the American capitalist system. Under the American capitalist system, everything is dollar driven, profit driven. Everything's for the money, for the money, for the money. Me, money, 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 money. Give me more, 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 more. That's Satan. That's Satan talk. So congratulations, folks. If you live in North America, you have that kind of mentality. You want a bigger house, bigger car, more stability. You want more money, and women want careers. You're a child of Satan. Congratulations. Welcome to the Satanic Club, yes, of North America. And Sin City, if you live in Sin City, meaning in Las Vegas, you are in double trouble. You are actually at the epicenter of where all satanic activities happen. But anyway, you probably knew that. So look for the video um, that will be released very shortly. This was supposed to be just like a 2-minute long sneak preview. I went overboard, but anyway, this is a live stream, so I cannot edit it. There's no editing of this particular. That was supposed to be a 2-minute long preview, or the trailer, or the whatever you want to call it, sneak preview for our longer, fully edited, high quality video that will blow you away. Because as you'll be seeing the events, I will give you dates when those things will happen. Like, remember in my 1999 video, I told you about Donald Trump being reelected for the second term. And it happened, folks. See, the Akashic records don't lie. All the prophets in the Old Testament that would smoke hashish, that would facilitate, like today's ayahuasca, very popular drug, to get to that level of where your mind reads the Akashic records better, smoother. I don't take any drugs whatsoever, folks. It just comes to me. It's considered inborn, innate ability. And I don't recommend that you take that ayahuasca or whatever it's called, the hashish or anything else. It's highly addictive, and it's really bad for you. Don't do it. Just water and salads. This is my diet, folks. Water, salads, and occasional nuts like Brazil nuts, pecans, and other mixed nuts. Very good. They're very good for your protein intake, and your brain needs that selenium to function on. All you need is water, clean water that's been prayed over. You're trying to understand, water is the most magical, truly just incredibly misunderstood, unknown. It's really unknown substance on Earth. We are 80% water. We're made out of water, folks, for the most part. Water has 4 aggregate states. Vapor, ice, liquid, and just look it up. It's really something. It's beyond. It's beyond. We don't know exactly. It has magical properties. Water is created by God, no doubt, no doubt. It's created by God, and it's very, very symbolic. There's a lot of symbolism in water, and just don't get me even started on this subject. I will probably talk for 8 hours straight. But anyway, look it up. Water is the source of everything, all life, really. The sun and the water combined, it's just, we have the protein from the sun, 150 million miles away or kilometers away. It takes 8 minutes 7.5 to 8 minutes for the light to get here from the sun to planet Earth. Can you believe that? So if the sun explodes, it's no longer there. We'll still see its beautiful rays for about 8 minutes, and then we'll see it went blank. I'm just pointing out that everything is relative in this universe. Even the distance. Imagine, 8 minutes for the light to get here, and our closest star, I believe, is 3,000 light years away, folks. Alpha Centauri. 3,000 light years away. 3,000 light. It takes the light 3,000 years to get here, or something like that. The point is, they're from, I believe, either 300, 3,000. It's not important. Some of them are billions of light years away. Billions of light years away. So it takes light, folks, light to get to our planet. Billions of years. And by the way, just recent, not that long ago, there was we've detected, the astronomers, astrophysicists have detected a new type of very powerful star explosion that was something like 18 billion light years away. 18, not 14 like we thought our universe is 14. No. It put everything upside down. In other words, everything they thought it was wrong. Actually, the universe is not what it seems to be. We don't know what it is. And it truly, really puzzled them, because we thought we knew. We don't know. It's all a made up story, this 18, 14. How do you figure it's 18 billion years or 14 billion years? It's all a conjecture. It's all a theory. We don't know, folks. We really don't know. Only God knows. We have an idea how big our universe is. But can you imagine the light? Well, let's say it's true for just argument's sake. Light that traveled to our planet. 18 billion years. Just think about it. So in other words, folks, that's just the distance. In other words, for the light to get here, folks. So those distances are so unimaginably large, the big distances. So can you picture just you getting there? It's impossible, right? Even if you were traveling at the speed of light. So that means different laws of physics operate there. And we're just now, I mentioned the term agape love, the biblical term for the unconditional love of God. It's the glue that holds our universe together, folks. God's love is his frequency. It's very high frequency. It's unimaginably high frequency. That's where he lives, in that sort of realm of uncreated light, because it's a high frequency sort of vibrations, if you will, using the technical terms or the scientific terms. But so just imagine, if you ever wanted to travel to, let's say, the distant part of the world, the universe, it would take 18 billion years if you could travel at the speed of light. And if not, that means it's just not even possible. And that point of our universe is just the beginning of where basically we stop seeing. So in other words, there's beyond that, there's vastly more, infinite more sort of other space, but we don't even know what to expect out there. The point is, folks, it's just we're so just we're in the dark. We don't know anything about anything. This is the best way to look at the world, folks. And in this video that's coming up, I'm going to talk about it. The more I kind of pick up these pieces of knowledge here and there, the more I realize I know nothing, folks. I'm being very honest with you. It's not just sort of being humble. No. The more I learn as my years go by, the more I realize I know nothing. I know absolutely nothing. And this is why Jesus said we should be like these children, very innocent and very it's not even the right word. It's not innocent. It's not the innocence that it's not the innocence. It's the curiosity, the constant curiosity of not having that sort of a pride. The children usually don't have that pride that I know something. Well, you don't tell me what to do. They're just tell me, why is this? Why is that? That's how we should be, eternally or perpetually curious, folks. We should be perpetually curious. So anyway, enough of my preview for our next video. I shared with you enough. God bless you. Take care. I hope that the angels of God will guide you and protect you from all evil. and there's a lot of evil in this world. Yes, even though the mass shootings will increase, God's guardian angels will be by your side. So if you walk with God, you will be protected supernaturally. But if you think that guns will protect you, you're gravely mistaken, folks. Because think about it. Just sit for 5 minutes and think, do you need those guns or do you have the protection of God? And just decide. Just make that choice. Do you want the angels of God to protect you? Do you believe in that? Or do you want in your own strength, but having, guns in your house or in your own you? So what do you want? Do you want to have a gun to protect you, or do you believe in the supernatural, invisible forces of God that protects you 24/7 while you're sleeping? And your children also, and your grandchildren, and your entire family. If you pray for your family, you should. You should be praying for your family and for everyone. This is our faith, folks. We have to answer this question. Do we want the guns to protect us, or do we want the angels of God? And that's what so many people are paying with their lives. The recent shooting. I mean, there's recent shooting. I've lost count, folks. I've lost track of these mass shootings. Every time I turn on the news to catch the weather, I get confused. Like, this politician got killed, this politician got killed, that politician got killed. They're switching to politicians. And very soon they'll be switching to federal buildings and state buildings. Remember, I told you that these people who are demon possessed, who are right now doing mass shootings, their game will switch very soon. They'll switch from just shooting individual victims to detonating entire buildings and city blocks with massive amounts of C4 and other explosives that they will get from China and the Netherlands. They'll find a way, folks. And when that happens, watch out. That's the real nightmare, because it won't be safe. Like right now, it's not safe to walk on the streets of America, but very soon it won't be safe to even, like, there'll be mass exodus from America. American citizens will be going to other countries. That's right. Because I mean, it's not safe, folks. It's not safe. If you think it's bad right now, and it is really bad, like the city of Chicago, I believe, loses something like 1,000 people per year. Maybe it's 3,000. I've lost count, honestly. I don't remember. It's either 1,000 or 3,000 per year. Per year, innocent people lose their lives per year. Just you go for a walk and you never come back. Parents send out their little kids to play, and they never come back because the stray bullets hit their children. Imagine children, little children are being hit by stray bullets from those demon-possessed monsters. They're demon-controlled monsters. This population, it's like in the days of Noah. Anyway, folks, I'm going to end with this. We are in the days of Noah. End of story. There is no other way. So the flood is coming, except instead of the flood, we'll have tornadoes. We'll have, like, in a massive scale, we'll have volcanic eruptions. Like I told you about the earthquake that will happen in the Midwest. Where Arkansas meets Tennessee and I believe Missouri, in that corner, I'm even pinpointing to you the location where it's going to happen. It will be massive, at least 9.5 Richter scale, perhaps even more. It will be so massive that these whatever 3-4 states that merged there. I forget what they are. I think that for sure the Arkansas, Missouri, and Tennessee, I believe, in that corner, in that corner, basically, where they all meet, like 3 states. You could find it on the map, draw a little area, like a 300-mile area. Everything will be destroyed with this earthquake that's coming. Everything will be nothing will be functioning. Like 5 to 10 million people will die as a result of that earthquake. Why? Because no electricity, no gas, no internet, nothing will be working. And the sheer destruction, the physical destruction from the earthquake will be, it's going to be, see these images of Palestine, war in Ukraine, all of that will switch to America very soon. With our mass shootings, it will switch to detonations with the earthquakes happening in the Midwest, the volcanic eruptions in Yellowstone, the earthquakes in California, and the earthquakes, by the way, on the East Coast too. Yes, in New Jersey, of all places, very soon. When that happens, when you see all those tall skyscrapers in New York City, will be crumbling. That is unfortunate, folks, but we will see that. And when we'll see that, know that the end of is near. It's time to have your own little community of believers where you don't rely on the electric grid, where you don't rely on your local municipal gas or whatever garbage collection. You have to have your own community, folks. And that's what we're trying to build. Our own little, well, we should all band together in the groups of, at least 20 people to build our communities, to sustain ourselves when these end times will be revealed. They are being revealed, folks. When they actually begin to be fulfilled, we have to be ready. So anyway, we have mass shootings are coming, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, digital dollar that's coming. What else? Well, that's about it, folks. But it will be a huge, it will be enormous. It will be like we'll be living a nightmare, like we'll be in hell on earth. So unless we live in the mountains somewhere, in Idaho, in, I don't know, in Montana, in this Colorado, something like that. So you have to just already think of it in those terms. You have to be sort of transitioning to those states, especially if you live in a big city somewhere, especially if you live in some kind of a high-rise building. It won't be safe, folks. It won't be safe. So I'll say my prayer, and we'll just leave it on this note here. We live in the end times. We live in the end of in the days of Noah. Just like in the days of Noah, they were marrying and being given in marriage, so are today. People are just going about their daily business as if it's like there's always a tomorrow, right? Well, not really. We'll see the change, folks. So I will say my benediction, my closing prayer. May God send his angels to guard you, protect you. I'm praying for all the believers and for all those who are yet to believe. May God keep us safe and away from all evil, from the forces of evil. And for us to be able to share this knowledge with the rest, all those who must hear this message and be saved. Believers, not believers. It's not for us to decide. Folks, we just need to open our mouth and share this gospel, share the knowledge that we have to believe, we have to convert, we have to be born again. We have to have that spiritual revival, that spiritual rebirth within us. In the name of Jesus Christ, I pray. Amen. God bless you. Take care. We'll see you next time, folks, in our next video upload or live stream. Take care.